Welcome back to the Genus Brewing channel. We are not actually drinking beer today because we are doing
officially open.
Officially open.
Yeah.
That too.
So it's been a while since we put anything up, but we kind of preluded with my YouTube story, which is a thing now. Apparently I can do YouTube stories. That we are doing an install of a cooling system basically involving Kreyer fans. And so we wanted to, in this video, basically introduce Kreyer Fan Units and tell you what they're normally good at, and then tell you what ambitious project we're taking on with it.
So basically how these guys work is they are a cooler that runs off of glycol that a lot of breweries already have.
Yeah. So they have if you have some extra tonnage in your glycol unit, or if, like us, you have an extra glycol unit, the idea behind these fans is you can take your existing glycol, plumb a little bit of line into one of these fan units. They use a radiator to basically take that coldness and blow it into a room, and they are especially good if you're trying to build out a cellar or build out a cold room, a barrel room, whatever you want to call it. But we are going to try to use it to build out a full-on walk-in cooler, which takes a lot more tonnage than that.
Because we're crazy.
And it sounds fun.
These things work just like the radiator does on your car. You've got coolant that's cycling through these. They've got a thermostat on them. Instead of running hot coolant through it, you're actually running really cold coolant through it. You're running your glycol that's going to be at, I think I can get ours down to about 17, but...
Yeah, it depends on the glycol mixture, but
yeah, anyway, so you're running glycol through it. You're exchanging the heat out of that glycol to cool a airspace, and yeah. What got us into this situation in the first place? So we, as we've been building out this whole project that we have going on, if you haven't followed us, you should know by now that we are doing a full-on brewery, as well as our homebrew supply store. But when it came down to getting into our new location, we had to build everything from the ground up. And the best way to do that was to frame everything in so that we could have a lofted mezzanine, which we'll show you in a bit, for all of our backstock, all of our storage for all the homebrew supplies. And when we did this, it did make sense to buy a pre-built walk-in cooler, and there's a lot of there's a lot that goes into using something like a CoolBot, and just in terms of the amount of space that it takes up. And so I started researching alternate options, and something that could basically just run a small line through a wall rather than running, plating a big air conditioner on a wall. Big, awkward air conditioner, probably two of them, because they're going to go out after a year or two on you. And
yeah, with a CoolBot that has to override the system, and they have to, so you ended up blowing them out. Just running a couple of glycol lines into the cooler seems to make the most sense. And so for space efficiency, for energy efficiency, and because we already had a glycol chiller, we had the extra tonnage right now, I figured this would be a good option. Yeah. So we reached out to Kreyer, which is the maker of this company. We'll tell you a little bit more about them at the end of this video, but we reached out to them and asked them if they'd be willing to work with us in a YouTube video, and they were able to work out a deal between them and More Beer. So big shout out to More Beer as well. Thank you very much for helping us out with this and kind of helping negotiate. This isn't a sponsored video, but they did help us out quite a bit to get us one of these units at a discounted price. And so now we're going to try to install it and see if we can really max it out, basically. Yeah.
One thing Peter forgot to mention also is cost, as well as compared to CoolBots. The other option out there is going to be to actually have a dedicated refrigeration unit, and we got a quote for one, and for our 9x9 walk-in, I believe it was somewhere in the ballpark of like $7,000.
$7,500.
So yeah, that's what kind of, I think, spurred us going, maybe there's another option out there.
Yeah, we didn't want the cheap CoolBot option that takes up a lot of space and is a little awkward, but we also didn't want to spend a ton of money on getting a professionally installed refrigeration system. Yes. So, and like I said, we had the extra tonnage, so why not?
All right, so let's give you guys a quick breakdown of what Kreyer sent us today. Kind of give you the parts, and then you guys will be following me as I figure out how to assemble these. I got some instructions, but a lot of them are in German, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, so he's been learning German for the last couple of days. He's pretty much fluent, but not quite yet.
Beer.
It's beer.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. To introduce Kreyer as a brand, one of the things that they really specialize are these kind of cooling units, which makes use of the glycol that you might already have. So if you're building a brewery, or if you're building a walk-in for your bar and you already have the glycol system to run your lines, a lot of people are running glycol lines, this is a really good option, especially if you're thinking of something in a cold room that doesn't take as much tonnage. If you're only chilling it to cellar temperatures, you want to store your barrels, you want a place to store your wine, whatever you're thinking, this is a really, really energy efficient and cheap option. Yeah. When you're doing something as ambitious ambitious as us, the energy efficiency goes down a little bit and the price goes up a little bit, but it's still a cheaper option than most installs, and it makes use of a cooling system you already have.
And I think even some people even use it to actually air condition a large seating area that you might not have a central HVAC kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So they actually use that to just to kind of keep the hot out for a little bit on hot days. So
yeah. So if you have if you're only trying to cool things down to room to 70 degrees or like a nice comfortable temperature, it becomes astronomically energy efficient to use something like this, especially if you have the extra power in your glycol chiller, which you should be buying an OP glycol chiller anyway, because you never know when you're going to need to expand or use some extras, and the cost efficiency goes way up the bigger you go.
Pretty much. All right, so let's give you a breakdown of all the equipment that Kreyer sent us for the assembly of this unit and to make it work for our case. Our case? Our case, that was really weird.
Our quacks.
Let's talk about the actual unit that they sent us. So this unit here is the heat exchanger. This is doing all the work. It is a big radiator with a big old fan on it. Fairly straightforward. We got 2 ports in the back as well that'll have our glycol in and out. Fairly simple. And then what's actually going to control this unit is this fancy little controller box that they sent us.
This is a RoboCop.
Bam! And this guy is actually really interesting. I've been looking at it. This is actually a sealable gasket, so it looks like this can be mounted inside of the refrigerated area or outside, either way. This is going to act as a sort of relay system. It's got a timer in it as well, so you can control your defrost cycles, which we'll talk about in a minute. And so this is a nice, really good quality piece of equipment that they sent us. This little button here is actually for a manual defrost as well. If you walk in and go, oh, why is this not chilling the way it should be?
So much ice!
So I've got next to me too. These are the defrost coils. So these are going to be necessary if you are chilling a room anywhere near freezing or below freezing. So these are just, this is one pair of them. I've actually got 2 more pairs sitting over here. One thing to note is if you are going to install these, they do pull a lot of power. I believe we have here in the US a dedicated 220 30 amp circuit running in order to power these guys. So yeah, take that into consideration. If you don't need these, you can actually you still need to run a 220 circuit, but it doesn't have to be nearly as much amperage because the fan only pulls like half an amp or something crazy low like that.
And the good news is if you also are getting into bondage, these kind of double up. Solenoid.
So how that control
Filter.
box works is it is going to control this solenoid, which is just going to allow flow through or no flow through, essentially stop the glycol from running. In order to achieve your temperature, we got this filter is going to have to go in line with it because there's pretty small piping in there, and if we do happen to get anything in our glycol chiller, any kind of debris, while the pump can handle it, the lines can handle it, once it gets into that heat exchanger, it has the potential to plug it up. So having some kind of an inline filter is a really good idea. Bam! And then Peter's showing you the backwards control box. So this guy's going to hook into the main controller box. It's where you're actually going to program the temperature. Pretty basic parts, really. This guy's super robust. I wish you could like feel how much this thing weighs. It weighs about 4 pounds. So they also sent us a few other electrical boxes. I'm pretty sure one's to wire up the defrost kit. That guy, I believe, is for the temperature sensor that Peter's holding right now.
Yep.
Sensor. So this guy is going to go into the cold room. It's going to read the temperatures and then go back into, I'm guessing, the temperature controller. And so those are all the parts. I wish I could tell you a little bit more right now, but I am kind of in a learning process, so you guys are going to follow me, I guess, in another video as I learn how to put this thing together.
And learn with us.
And learn with us, yeah, exactly. So that way, if you decide to go this route, hopefully this will end up being an awesome piece of words are hard.
Words are so hard.
I was saying this is going to be like an awesome pice of like educational content for you.
Yeah, this is going to be an awesome piece of educational content for you. You're going to get big and thick with it.
All right, so I think that sums up all the parts for this guy. So I'm going to be doing another video where you guys are going to be following me as I figure out how to put all these together, get this thing installed, and hopefully it'll be educational enough that if you decide to go this route, getting a glycol-based cooling unit for your refrigeration area, then you can watch this video and know how to put it together.
Yeah, and thanks again to Kreyer for helping us out with this and getting us all this stuff, as well as sending us instruction manuals and giving us, actually they give us a call so we can have them on hand if we need any assistance during the whole process. So thanks to Kreyer for that. Awesome if you're looking for chilling units, glycol chillers themselves, or all sorts of refrigeration things. We'll put all their links in the description below so you can check them out. And also thank you to More Beer for helping liaison this whole transaction.
Boom. Until next time on Genus Brewing, we're going to drink these things that somebody randomly left outside of our door last night. So,
yeah, dude stumbling across and he's just like, I saw two guys in there, so I'm just going to leave some beer that's not beer.
Not beer. Viva la beer.
Viva la
Yeah. No, I'm not actually going to drink this. I'm actually pretty happy with that.
I'll take it.
He does take it. Twice a day. Now you get my vision, right?
Yeah.